Hi guys, welcome. You made it. You found us on the interwebs. I'm Chef Andy, also known as Donut. Today we have lots of fun stuff for you. We teamed up with Brook. I have 4 recipes for you guys that are tailored to their winter chill pack. Lots of big, bold flavors, lots of fatty, acid, savory, sweet. We're gonna have a lot of fun. Let's get into it. We have our first recipe here. It's going to be a wedge salad. Super simple, 8 ingredients, nice and crispy, fatty, acid, lots of fun, paired with a couple crispy beers. We have our lager here, No Bad Days, an American Pale Ale, Naughty Neighbor, a couple of my favorite beers. This is crispy salad, lots of textures. It's good stuff, let's get started. So the first step of this salad is we're gonna cut our bacon into some lardons. Take this big chunk, cut it into some small chunks. We're looking for about a centimeter. You don't have to be too worried about it. It's gonna be delicious. Some people leave the bacon whole and put it right on top of their salad. It's up to you. So with the salad, this step is basically the step that takes the longest, so we're gonna get it started. We're gonna put our pan on about a medium high here. All right, friends, we got our bacon rendering out here. Like I said, this is a quick salad. Just keep an eye on your bacon, don't let it burn. And we can get our other prep going while it's rendering out. Got some nice cherry tomatoes here. Up to you how you want to cut them. You can go north and south, east and west. Either way, it's gonna be delicious. Okay, we have our tomatoes chopped. We have some beautiful pepperoncinis here. I like to slice these nice and thin. You can double them up as you go if you'd like. Get a good hold on it. Sometimes pepperoncinis are filled with vinegar, and when you cut into them, they're gonna burst. Which sometimes it's nice to give you a little rip. Get the vinegar out of there, so you're not surprised when you sliced into it. Nice thin slices. Okay guys, moving on to the blue cheese dressing. Super simple, 4 ingredients. It's definitely one of the fattier components of the salad. We're gonna start with the blue cheese. I'm just gonna crumble it up a little bit in the bowl. This is about a 1/4 cup. I like to break up the blue cheese a little bit before mixing up everything else. Just makes it a little easier to get everything incorporated. Don't forget about your bacon. Easily burned. I think we're good here. I think we're good. So I'm gonna take this off the heat. Obviously, always be careful when you're dealing with hot fat. Nice even cook on the bacon. That's exactly what we're looking for. You can save this fat. It's great stuff to cook with. Let it cool down a bit, put it in a jar. It'll last in your fridge for weeks. Okay, we're gonna just move this pan off the heat and finish up our dressing. So like I said, blue cheese was about a 1/4 cup. We're gonna add about the same portions of buttermilk. I would lean a little lighter on the buttermilk because you can always add more, but you can't really take it away. I have Hellmann's mayo. I like Hellmann's mayo. Most people like Hellmann's mayo. Some people make aioli. We're not doing that today. We're going nice and simple for you guys. Again, about a 1/4 cup. Give it a little mix. Everybody's palate's a little bit different, right? So I have all these recipes measured out for you guys, but maybe you want a little less acid, maybe you want a little more acid. We're gonna go with about a tablespoon. It's a beautiful white color. It's gonna stand out on top of the lettuce, tomatoes, pepperoncinis, and bacon. It smells delicious. I'm testing with my finger, that's okay. That's good, that's delicious, happy with it. We're just gonna take our head of iceberg, split it in half, cut it into 3 to 4 wedges. Okay, iceberg, nice and easy, right down the middle. Pop this over here. We're gonna take the core out. So simple. You love it. All right, guys, a couple wedgies. So this salad is, you know, you kind of eat it like a steak. You're gonna have a knife, you're gonna have a fork. It's fun. Kids love it. Dads love it. Moms love it. Sisters love it. I love it. Okay. The dressing is looking beautiful. I'm gonna hit it with some buttermilk blue cheese. Don't be scared. It's gonna look like a lot, but you want a lot, right? The salad's not cut. It's not getting fully dressed, so you want a lot. Almost fully covered. And you get to have fun. You get to play, you know, art. Food is basically just making potions. It's art. It's art class. Lots of fun. Okay, guys, dance the tomatoes around it. These nice vinegary pepperoncinis. That looks nice. Okay, I like to finish with the bacon. Again, you can play with all these ingredients. You want more bacon, add more bacon. You want more dressing, add more dressing. Want more tomatoes, you get it. I would pair it with this one first because I love this beer. That's your wedge salad, delicious. Nice, simple, beautiful wedge salad paired with your crispy boy. Cheers. Our next recipe is gonna be a seared flank steak with a delicious chimichurri. Chimichurri, pretty fun. Not a lot of people play around with it, and I think it's great on all kinds of stuff, vegetables, all kinds of different proteins. So don't just use this chimichurri with a flank steak, play around with it. Options are endless. We're gonna be utilizing some bird's eye chilies here. I suggest that you dose in your chilies by taste. Bird's eye, they really vary in heat, so my pepper might be a little bit different than your pepper. Just be aware of that. With all this heat going on in the chimichurri, it's gonna pair very nicely with our two beers here, which are a Winter Wizard, which is exclusive to our Winter Chill Pack, and our Wicked Awesome. They're gonna cut through that heat. They're gonna be, you know, slightly fruity. It's all gonna pair together very nicely. We have our items meased out here, but I'm still gonna show you how to work with some of these ingredients. Bird's eye chili. Wear gloves when you cut them. I don't have gloves. I suggest you wear gloves. You don't want to cut these, touch your eye, or, you know, go to the washroom or something like that. Not that fun. I've been there. Don't do it. Wear gloves. Washing your hands, not gonna take it away. So either wear gloves or don't touch any body parts for at least a good 3 hours. All right, so we're just doing a nice, fine, thin slice on these, nothing crazy. Moving on to garlic, super simple. I like to smash it. Takes the skin off nice and easily for you. I also like to get rid of the, where the root used to be attached to. It can be a little bitter, let's get rid of it. Lots of ways to cut garlic. Big fan of just smashing it. Run your knife through it. You don't have to be too crazy about getting it super fine, but you don't want any like super large chunks either. Nobody likes to bite into a big chunk of raw garlic. But also don't turn it into a paste. That's not what we're looking for either. Chimichurri. A lot of people like to use shallots in chimichurri, which is fun. I love shallots. I don't like cutting shallots. You know, most of the times you can replace shallots with a red onion. Don't tell anybody I told you that, but that's what I think, that's how I feel. If you want to cut a bunch of small shallots, go for it. It's gonna be delicious. You know what works as well? Red onion. I like to cut red onions a little faster than shallots. You use one instead of like 5. Nothing crazy here when you cut onions. I like to leave the root intact, so when we go to do our dice, it's gonna hold our whole onion together for us. So right now we're gonna take our knife and go along the ribs of this onion. We're looking for a pretty fine dice, basically as fine as you can get it. Wonderful. You're gonna take your knife, now you're gonna go against that. Cut, okay? We just need one of these. There's just layers in your onion, and if you don't do that horizontal cut, you might wind up with some pretty big chunks. Not the end of the world. Now we're gonna go against the rib and we'll have a nice fine dice. I am crying a little bit, the onion's a little juicy. All right, we're gonna chop up our parsley, nothing crazy here. This is pre-washed. Wash your parsley, there's lots of dirt in there. It's exactly the same as salad, okay? Just put it in your salad spinner, hit it with some water, dry it off, and you're good to go. I like to bunch it up as much as you can. And you're just gonna run your knife all along it. I include the stems. There's nothing wrong with stems. There's lots of flavor there. Don't be scared of stems. So we have all of our parsley done here, so I'm not gonna chop all of this up. This next step, super simple. There's no particular order you need to do this in. You're just gonna take all these ingredients and put them in. Don't forget what I said about the chilies. We're gonna do that by taste. Okay, we got our parsley. Our shallots or red onions. We're using red onion. Oil. It's just a nice clean olive oil, okay? This is some sherry vinegar. You don't have to use sherry vinegar. You can use whatever vinegar you like. Salt, a little bit of cumin, some garlic. It smells delicious. I'm gonna go with about half of these chilies and hope that it's not too spicy. Okay guys, it looks beautiful. We just need to mix it all up. Again, this is just like art. It's beautiful. So many colors. Smells delicious. So naturally on the steak, this is gonna be very herbaceous. It's gonna be a little fatty. Got lots of vinegar in there. Spicy, it's friggin' everything you want, all in one little condiment. That's why I'm saying don't be afraid to use this on produce. Don't be afraid to use this on fish, chicken. All right, we're gonna give this a little taste, make sure that it's not too spicy. If we want more spice, we can always add it back in, but remember, you can't really take that kind of stuff away. Okay. It's spicy, herby, oily, vinegary. I might splash it with a little bit more vinegar because I'm an acidic boy. Right guys, recipes you can always play with. You don't have to stay true to every single measurement. If you wanna prep this in advance, a day ahead or 2 days ahead, the flavors are just gonna build and come together. Nothing wrong with doing that. We're gonna get our pan heated up here on a high heat, and we're gonna get a quick clean going. All right, friends, very exciting portion of this recipe. We're gonna sear this flank steak. First, we're gonna season it. Don't be afraid of the salt. It's gonna look like a lot. A lot of the salt's gonna come off when we're cooking, okay? So account for that. You want even coverage all over this guy. Same with pepper. Don't be afraid. That looks lovely. I'm gonna hit the pan with a little bit of oil. Looking good, looking good. We'll season the other side of the steak while it's in the pan. Always good if you have any hot oil in a pan like this. Take one piece of your steak, get it in the pan, and then drop the rest away from you so nothing splashes back at you. All right, it's our opportunity to season the other side. Smelling pretty delicious, pretty delicious. It's a lot of salt. I understand, that looks like a lot of salt. But just trust me, that's what you want. Doesn't take long, we're looking about 2 to 3 minutes per side. It's a thin steak, we want it to be medium rare. Do not cook this well done. I know some people like their steaks well done. You don't want to cook a flank steak. You don't want to cook any steak well done, but especially a flank steak, okay? We want those deep brown flavors. That's what we're getting right now. It's called the Maillard reaction. It happens in vegetables, it happens in meat. It's delicious. It's the flavor that you really like. You might not know it, but the Maillard reaction. That's what we're looking for right now. I'm checking out our sear. It's looking like we've built a pretty beautiful crust. I'm gonna flip it over. Same rule applies here, okay? This end down here, drop it away from you. Proteins can tend to tense up a little bit when they're cooking, which means the bottom can pull away from the pan a bit. So I'm just giving it a little bit of pressure to make sure it sticks. Get that beautiful crust all along the steak. A great tool is a Thermapen. It's an instant read thermometer. Do you need this? No. Does it make your life 10 times easier? Yeah. Okay, so we're chilling around 115 right now. We're looking for about 125 to 130, which will give us a nice medium rare steak. Also, doesn't have to sit still. You can move it around. Okay, just gonna get a nice even coat this way. Looking a lot better on that side. That's the color we're looking for. That's the Maillard reaction, all those brown bits. That's just golden brown deliciousness. That's what we want. That's what you want. High heat. Cook your steak as high as you can. We're gonna pull it off. We're gonna account for some cooking as we pull it off. I'd rather the fat end be a little less cooked than have this end be completely overcooked. All right guys, we've built up a nice sear on our steak here. I'm happy with that. Again, don't be afraid to flip your steak a couple times. You want that brown reaction. You want it, it's delicious. Don't be afraid. You can flip your steak multiple times. If we slice into it right now, a lot of the juices are gonna pool out of your steak. We wanna keep those juices in. We can achieve that with letting it rest for about 5 to 8 minutes. Yeah! All right. This is the end of this recipe. We've got a beautiful sear on our flank steak. Have our chimichurri just chilling over here, waiting to hop on there and soak into the steak. Also have our beers chilling. If you haven't cracked into those, probably you should crack into those. Get them going. You want to eat it with this steak. It's going to pair very well. One quick note is we have meat fibers running horizontally here. You just want to go against those meat fibers, okay? That's just going to make the steak a lot easier to chew. There's nothing wrong with going this way. It's just gonna be a lot chewier. If you like that, do that. If you don't, do it this way. Okay? Nice thin slices. I'm saying 1/2 centimeter to 1 centimeter. Oh, it feels good. Pretty gorgeous color we have going on here. Very happy with that. Smells unreal. Unreal. As you can see, not too many juices are pooling out of the steak. That's because we let it have a nice rest. If you don't let it rest, you just can't wait to get in there. I understand that. Just put it on your plate. The juices that have pooled on your cutting board, just pour it over your steak. There you go. Okay guys, we're gonna slip our knife underneath here. Be careful. Make sure it's all evenly weighed out. Get it on your plate. Even though we let our steak rest, I'm still gonna add those juices to that steak because it's delicious flavor. Don't throw that out. Just do one of these. No problem. Chimichurri, okay? Don't be light with this. It's delicious. I don't think you can really overdo it. We're gonna do a couple dollops. As you eat, you can move it around. We're making it look a little nice right now, so a couple dollops. We're gonna do some more. If you wanted, you could finish this with a little olive oil. I'm gonna do it. Okay, I'm just gonna put my finger on the opening here just so it doesn't go crazy. There we have it, guys. Fairly cheap steak. It's beautiful, delicious. Like, I can't wait to dig into this. It's also gonna pair so well with these beers. Get into it, do this. Up next, we're gonna be making an apple bourbon fritter. I love fritters, I love donuts, I hope you do too. We're pairing it with the black light stout. The apple fritter, it's nice and crispy on the outside, light and fluffy on the inside. I like playing with textures sometimes, not just flavors. So we're playing with textures here, nice smooth black light stout, crispy, fluffy apple bourbon fritter. We're gonna start off with processing our apples. We've already got some here, chilling in some lemon water. We have a Granny Smith here, and we have some honey crisps as well. You can play around with the apples, you just kind of want to make sure that you get a baking apple and that they're a medium size. Nothing crazy about peeling an apple. We're gonna start with taking off the top here, because that's how I like to do it. I'm also a big fan of Y peelers. And then we can just take the sides off, nice and easy. The apples you can play with here, you just want to make sure you have some nice baking apples that are going to hold up to the cooking process, okay? Okay, our next step here is going to be cutting our apple. You just want to stay away from the core. Apple seeds. Nobody wants apple seeds in their fritters, okay? All right, guys, so we have our apples processed here. We're just gonna add them to the rest of our apples that we meased out earlier. Mise en place sounds fancy, it's not. It's just having everything in its right place. It's a great Radiohead song too, everything in its right place. Really good. So we just have our apples sitting in a little bit of lemon water here. That's just gonna prevent the apples from oxidizing. So we're gonna turn on our pan here and get the heat going. We're looking for about a medium-high heat. Adding a little sugar, let's let this dissolve. Add your cinnamon now as well. Boop, boop, boop. All right, guys, so we've added our cinnamon. We're just gonna drain our apples here and get them in there as well. Don't worry about getting all the water out of there. There's water in here, it's gonna cook out. Be careful, hot sugar is very dangerous. You do not want that to touch your skin. It's very hard to get off. Be careful. So we're just looking to soften these apples up a little bit. Nothing too crazy. Have a nice syrup going along with it. We have our apples in the pan, sugar water. It's all starting to reduce, get delicious. We're just gonna split these vanilla beans and get the flesh out of there. You could use vanilla extract if you're, cool with being an enemy of quality, but I suggest you get some vanilla beans because they're delicious. You can also reuse the pod. You can stick it in some sugar, let it sit in there for like a week, and you have this delicious vanilla sugar you can put in your coffee. Yum. Nothing too crazy about getting the flesh out here. You just want to hold one end, have a flat device, and just run it along your pod. Just like that, that's what we're looking for. This recipe calls for 1 vanilla bean. These vanilla beans are a little small, so we're adding 2. It smells delicious in here. All right, let's just give this a nice stir, make sure everything's nice and homogenized. Guys, this process should take you about 15 minutes on a medium-low heat. And we're gonna add a little pinch of salt to this too. Some people are afraid of salt. Don't be afraid of salt. Especially when you're making baked goods, people tend to stray away from salt. Salt's just gonna enhance all those flavors and get them all together. Just a little pinchy pinch, okay? It goes a long way in a dessert. So we're gonna let this cook out until it's nice and syrupy. We're looking about 15 minutes, okay? So in the meantime, we're gonna get our yeast going. Typically, you want your water to be around 80 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. That's just gonna help your yeast bloom a lot faster. So we're adding our water. We got a little bit of milk. And our yeast. I like to give it a little stir. Sometimes it clumps up together. And let that rest for about 10 minutes until it gets nice and foamy. So as we wait for our yeast to bloom and get ready for us, we're gonna hit up the last step of the apple filling. So we're looking for about 3 ounces of bourbon. This is about halfway through the cooking process of the apples as well, so about 7 minutes in. I'll show you guys a really cool trick in 1 second. We're gonna just cook the alcohol out a little faster using this guy. You might not be able to see it, but the alcohol is burning off right now. It's on fire. Okay guys, so our apple filling is done. It's reduced about by half. It's been on for 15 minutes. It smells delicious. I'm excited, you should be excited. We're gonna pull this off the heats. Okay, our yeast is bloomed up, ready to go. That's exciting. Some people add their sugar in. When they add their yeast, they say it speeds the process up. I don't do that, we're just adding it now. Okay, I'm just gonna add our dry ingredients together here. I have an incredibly small bowl for this, but that's okay. It's okay, we're rolling with it. Remember, a pinch of salt, I said, pinch of salt. Let's go, delicious. So we're gonna slowly add this in, not make a mess. We're gonna do it in halves. If you don't have a KitchenAid mixer or anything like this, it's totally cool, you can just do this by hand. For you guys who have the mixer, we are on speed 4. Looking good. We're gonna halt, crack our egg. Always crack your egg into another container instead of going straight in. Your egg could be old, there could be some blood in there, there could be some shells that you drop in. Do a separate container. Back on speed 4, we'll get that mixed together, then we'll add the rest of our flour. All right guys, so we're just gonna scrape down the edges of our bowl. It's best to turn your machine off when you do this. I see people doing it while it's on, that's up to you. We're gonna shut it off, safety first. All right guys, this is looking good. We're gonna add in the second portion of our flour. Make sure you get it all in there. You don't want a soupy dough. So we're gonna let this mix for about another 1.5 minutes. Once it's incorporated, we're gonna start slowly adding in our room temperature butter. Awesome, our dough is looking nice and homogenized. We're gonna start slowly adding in our room temperature butter. I'd say do it in about thirds. Once the butter has been fully incorporated, you'll add the next third and so on and so forth. All right guys, it's been about 1:30 minutes. Our butter is incorporated. We're gonna add in our last third. All right folks, we're back here. We're nearing the end of mixing our dough. Just gonna flour our surface here a little bit. If you don't have one of these little guys, that's a-okay. Just use your hands. Sometimes it helps get a little flour on your hands. Dough might be a little sticky. So we're gonna sneak in the middle here, pull up, just bring it back down. And we're gonna repeat that a few times until we have a nice smooth surface on the top. This won't take too long. This smells unreal. You can smell the nutmeg, you can smell the cinnamon. Something that I like to do just to finish this process off, just take your hand in here, pull it towards you. It's gonna make that surface a little more taut, and just bring the ball all together. It's just a happy little ball, happy little ball. We got that nice taut skin, our dough's looking beautiful, got it in a nice clean bowl. We don't want it to dry out or anything, so we're gonna cover it with some saran wrap and let it double in size. All right, friends, our fritters, they have doubled in size. We're gonna dump it onto our bench after we dust it with some flour here. We're just gonna roll it into a nice rectangle and incorporate our apples. Be a little gentle with it, but not too gentle. I suggest you hit it with a little flour just so it doesn't stick to your rolling pin too much. Cool, cool, cool. All right, just roll it out. Oh, it feels nice. It's nice. It's a nice dough. So we're looking for about maybe 2 centimeters in thickness here. There's many ways you can do this, incorporating your apples here, but this is the way I found the apples get dispersed throughout all of the donuts equally. So we're gonna do a nice line. Roll it out. Smells delicious. Okay, fold this over. Should do that again. If you can do this about 3 times, your apples will be pretty evenly dispersed. If you get some holes in it, it's a-okay. You'll see in our next step that holes here do not matter. We're gonna chop this fritter up a lot. That's what gives a fritter its classic look. Fritters are crazy looking. Like there's nooks and crannies all over the place, and that's what gives you the wicked texture. So in our next step, I'll show you what I'm actually talking about. This is a quick step. Then we're gonna bring it right back into our bowl after we make a ball out of it again. Fold it in, nice little blankets. Okay, we're just gonna roll it up. Okay, kind of give it a little toss around. Again, this is the same method we were using earlier. We're taking our fingers, we're going right into the middle. Try and touch your fingers together. It's gonna fold over on your hands. You want that. Just make a ball. Again, little rips, does not matter. Happy little ball. Straight back into our bowl. We're gonna let this proof again. It'll double in size. So we're just gonna hit this with a little saran again so our skin doesn't dry out, and we'll see you in a little bit. Hey pals, we're back to fritters. Our dough has proofed for a second time now. Before we roll it out and get it fried up, we're just gonna make a quick glaze here. Super simple glaze, 4 parts sugar, 1 part milk, icing sugar, okay? Just dissolves into the milk nice and easily. Here we go. You don't need to glaze your fritters, but I mean, glaze your fritters. Keep it glazed. Let's go. So guys, you're just gonna keep working this glaze until all your clumps are out of there. Maybe like a minute of stirring, okay? Okay guys, our glaze is looking pretty well incorporated here. We have a small other glaze that you could try out at home. We've taken our Black Light Stout. We've let it kind of like all the carbonation come out of it. Okay, it's the exact same ratios as our normal glaze. You just replace the milk with some Black Light Stout. Super chocolatey, delicious, lots of fun. It's gonna pair well with the bourbon and those cinnamon apples. Ha-ho! Looking great. All right, we're gonna set this to the side here, guys, until we need it. We're ready to roll out our fritters here. One thing to mention, I'd say a good 30 minutes before you are ready to fry your donuts, I would start preheating your oil. We're looking for about 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Although something to note, when you drop your fritters into your oil, that's gonna drastically drop your oil down. When your oil is below 350, a lot of that oil is gonna soak into your fritters. We don't necessarily want that. So bump your oil up. We're looking for about 160, 165 to account for the temperature drop when we put our fritters in there. Just like last time when we rolled out the fritters, we're gonna lightly flour our surface here. Last thing you want to happen is you've done all this hard work, you put your dough on your surface and it's just a sticky nightmare. Just avoid that problem with a little bit of flour on your surface. I'm gonna roll on out here. If you have rips in your dough, it's okay. We're gonna chop this dough up, so don't worry about it. Again, we're gonna roll this out, so hit this with a little bit of flour. Lovely. Okay, grab your rolling pin. Doesn't have to be a rolling pin like this. Could be a wine bottle, whatever you got. Nice and tender, exactly what we're looking for. About a 1/2 inch. This does not have to look nice. Okay, because we're just gonna chop this up right now. Chop it up into about, I would say, 1/2 inch squares. I don't have a pizza slicer right now, but if you had one, this would totally work with that tool as well. If you think about a fritter right now, think about it, right? It's all nooks and crannies, right? That's how you create those. It's not your average round donut. It's a unique donut. I love all those crispy bits, and this is how we're gonna achieve that. Gonna be a sticky mess again. I'd hit it with some flour, okay? Maybe even your hands too. And we're just gonna incorporate this into a bit of a ball. It's not pretty, I know. It's okay. It's pretty ideal to try and get most of your apples on the inside because they will fry in your oil, they will burn a bit. I don't mind it. A little crispy apple, some people might find that a little unappealing though. A little extra flour. I'm just gonna try and roll this into a bit of a log here. I know it's sticky, just work with it. It's okay, you got flour on your bench, work it in. Coming together. If it's sticking, you're noticing it's sticking, add a little bit more flour, it's okay. You wanna be a little gentle with it, you're not trying to like flatten this. Okay, this is looking nice. At this point, we're cutting our fritters. Exciting, okay? Cut them as big, as small as you want. You could make Timbits if you wanted. Okay, as I mentioned before, temperature of your oil is pretty important. If you have a decent sized pot, you can get away with doing like, 2 to 3 at a time, but I still suggest like start off with one, always just have a testing donut first, okay? That's what we're gonna do. Same thing as a steak. We're gonna drop this end in, let the rest of it release from you. That way the oil kind of splashes out this way, opposed to splashing it towards you. You don't want that to happen. Okay, here we go. Stir it around a little bit at the beginning. They will sink at first. If you don't stir around, you have a chance of burning the bottom. It's already floating for us. It's looking nice, smelling nice. Amazing. So we're gonna go about 3 to 4 minutes on this side, flip it over, 3 to 4 minutes on the other side, take it off. We're gonna put it on our cooling rack, and immediately we're gonna hit it with a glaze. We want that heat to help melt the glaze and just become one with the donut. Yeah, cool. We're glazing our fritters here. Look at them. They're kind of ugly, they're kind of beautiful. Okay guys, we're gonna like completely encase these. So we're just gonna dump it on. Don't be afraid. Gives it a nice sheen. All right, and our black light stout glaze. Pretty excited about this. It's gonna be delicious, chocolatey. Let's go. A little bit of a spin with our black light stout glaze. Oh my gosh, you can hear how crispy they are. There we have it, guys. Sort of ugly, but they're beautiful, delicious. Enjoy, you'll love them. Hey there, pals. Our journey is coming to an end. So we'll have a cocktail, a little bit of a nightcap here for us. We're gonna be making an Aperol sour, or a Zaperol sour, if you will. We're gonna be utilizing Nickelbrook's Blood Orange Zap, which is exclusive to the Winter Chill Pack. We're gonna take this beer and we're gonna reduce it down to about 1/10 of the volume. We're gonna use that as our simple syrup in this cocktail recipe. All right, pals, let's get started here. We're gonna take our Blood Orange Zap and make our simple syrup. Crazy beautiful color on this beer. It's actually made with cold pressed blood orange juice. We're gonna bring it up to a simmer boil, and then we're gonna turn it as low as we can to keep all the flavors in there. All right, pals, so we have our full can of blood orange zap reducing in our pot here. We're gonna reduce that down to about 2 ounces. Once it's reached that 2 ounces, you're gonna add in your portioned out sugar and just stir it in, make sure it dissolves. We're not gonna do that right now because we already did that ahead of time. You're gonna wind up with about 2 ounces, and it's gonna be that nice amber, dark amber color. It's gorgeous. That's gonna be our simple syrup in this recipe. Before mixing this cocktail, the main rule is just make sure your simple syrup is cooled down to at least room temperature. Okay, so I'm gonna show you just how easy this cocktail is. Just so you know, our shaker here has been pre-iced. Dump that out. In goes your lemon juice. We're adding 1 ounce of our simple syrup. Two ounces of erol. Gorgeous color. This color is gonna get a little diluted and the drink's gonna be more of a pink hue, which I love. 1 ounce of gin. This is 1 portion egg white. I like to add about 2 to 3 smaller cubes. Important step here, make sure you bang this. You don't want to start mixing your drink and everything goes flying. That's not very smooth, not very cool. We have our coupe glass here. We shake it for about a minute. All right, guys, just gonna give it a little tap. There we go. You don't have to strain it, but it's a nice step. Last step here, we're gonna add a little lemon twist to it. I like to start peeling right over the drink because as we do, a lot of the essential oils in the lemon are spritzing out, right? Lots of flavor. You can also do one of these. Also gets the oil out. You just drop it there. Very pretty, very delicious. I think I'm gonna have a sip. It's been a long day. That's delicious. All right, guys, so that's us reaching the end of our culinary experience. I've had a lot of fun doing this with you guys. I hope you've cracked into a couple of these beers while you're making the recipes. Just a little bit more fun for everyone. I'm Chef Andy. Cheers. Cool.
That was great. I'm Chef Andy. Cheers.